But anyhow, we have to move on. We have to get on with this. If I don't make sense, please let me know. I think this is part and parcel of things that we have to carry with us. So going back to the what do you call it? The unit for today. So I would like to share about why is it that we need to talk about reflection? Why did we need to talk about reflective practice? Um, it's one of those things that is part and parcel of how we envision teaching. Yeah, because can't all the time without thinking about what yeah when and I think you guys coming to this course is actually one very big first step in trying to understand how you can put your teaching into a sequence that's logical and it is based on theory. So that is what we want to do with you in this program essentially. And I do apologize on behalf of the PGT committee that everything seems to be like so much. We're cramming we're cramming essentially courses that you should take over a period of 3-4 years into 1 year. So it's a bit over ambitious. A lot of us are quite ambitious because everything feels like it's so important. But looking back and listening to your feedback and the way that you guys are responding, I think you have an idea of why is it necessary to know all these things. Kalau tak dapat in depth pun tak apa, at least you have an idea, right? How you want to start planning for your teaching career. So I think that's most important. And the objectives that we have for today is essentially to understand this, to know bagaimana we as university educators, or if you're deciding to choose to teach at higher education later, for those of you who are not teaching yet, how do you make sure that your teaching is always relevant? Yeah, and to make sure that how the way that you prioritize content, the skills, and the experience that you want the students to go through when you're teaching. So what are these priorities? What are these core characteristics you must have in order to become effective? So that is, I think, the basic premise of what we do. Yeah, and I'm going to show you this. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of you can resonate this. I might have missed some bits as well. Presenter's view. Oh, sorry. Yes, okay. Is that better?
Yes, that's more like it.
Sorry. See, I told you I'm all over the place today.
Same, Doctor.
All right. Okay. So guys, those of you who are teaching right now at the university, I think this is something that you are doing already. Yes? Is there anything that I missed out?
Where do you put FIP, Doctor?
Pardon?
Where do you put FIP?
FIT? What do you mean FIT?
Final year project.
Oh, final year project. Supervision.
Supervision, eh?
Yeah, supervision. Yeah.
So where you put master supervision and the undergraduate supervision? Is it the same?
Yeah, it's the same. It's
no, Doctor.
The,
how same, Doctor?
Well, it's all about supervision. It's just the different levels of the supervision, isn't it? And I put thesis examination as one bit because that again is not just thesis that is written by our students, but it's also thesis by external students that we have to examine as well. So that's why I thought it's a, it's a different category on its own. But essentially, supervision is supervision. Different levels that we guide students very much depends on the competencies of the students, obviously. But what I'm trying to tell you is that, teaching is just one bit. Teaching is just one bit here, and the rest of it is what is also expected of you. And it's a lot. It's a lot. People only see things like macam, oh, lecturer mengajar saja, which is only
Yes,
here, but people
true,
don't
true.
know the rest of all this, and it takes a whole lot of time and effort,
Yes.
and we try to balance as much as we can. And sometimes, we do have our moments where it's not going to work. It's just not going to work. So I just want you to see this and to reflect on where are you in this big whole job that we have right now. How do you position your priorities? There are people that I know at the university who just focus on research. Yeah, they don't do anything else except research, and everything else is like secondary. And I think that's kind of sayang, because you don't share what you know with the learning community. And I think that um, a debate that you have with your students, the interaction that you have with students is the one that would actually feed into what you do in your research. Because essentially that's what we want to do. We don't want to write things that's just sitting in some shelf somewhere and people are not picking it up. So yeah. um
Where do you put the article review?
what is that, Dr. Abdallah?
Article review. There are people who send you article to review like this.
Yes,
Where
yes.
do you put?
Yeah, I would put it here. Publishing. Yeah, because we are also reviewing other people's work as well, isn't it? and
Hmm.
and I think this is something that all of us should be actively doing. And I guess in some sense, being an academic today, you have to be visible. You have to be people that other people would be looking out for. And you have to build your resume online. You're not looking, maybe you're not looking for a job yet, or at some other places, but you have to have a CV online that people will see that, okay, Dr. Abdullah can do this, and Dr. Abdullah can examine this kind of thesis, that kind of thing. So the use of I think the media, yeah, to what do you call it, to publicize what we do is very, very important now. Unlike like 25 years ago, when I started my academic career, we didn't have all this. It's basically word of mouth. So if you're good, you're good. People will tell you who's good in the area. But now we very much look at your what do you call it, account in ResearchGate, in academia.edu, all these things. So that in itself helps us to create somewhat like an online persona, if you will, of our academic capabilities. Yeah. So that's a different story altogether. I'm going off topic right now, but I just wanted to tell you that this is something that we are all sharing. Yeah, all all these
Mhm.
things, that responsibilities that we're also doing at the same time. So
I feel, Doctor,
yes, Saya.
I feel you should put voluntary academic work, because that work they don't pay us.
Yes.
Yeah, they just send you article review, send you thesis review, no
Yeah,
payment.
yeah, yeah,
So I think maybe you should put voluntary academic work
yeah,
next column.
yeah, as one box. Yeah.
Yeah, this is what I feel.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we do voluntarily, and I
Yes.
think it comes with the knowledge, Dr. Abdullah. And I think it's, to me, it's an honor that people ask for your
Mm.
expert opinion of something. and we don't know. To me, when I receive all this, I always feel that I don't know enough. I'm also learning. I'm still learning, and there are things that I still don't understand. So when people come and ask for opinions, I think it's also an opportunity for us to build our understanding. So I don't really mind the not paying things, but I mind if somebody else takes your job, your work, and produce it as theirs. That I have a problem with. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, so that is, I think, the worst crime ever in in academia. But for people to get our opinion, that it's fine. I mean, opinion is free anyhow. And we base it on what we know. People come to us
Okay.
because they think that we are an expert in what we do. Yeah.
Where you put recommendation?
Recommendations.
Yeah,
Oh,
I have. Last week I wrote 4 recommendations for my student. 4. They took my time and instruction from their university.
yes.
One recommendation, it was 4 hours.
Hmm.
60 questions to recommend a student.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, I said this academic issue very tough.
Yes.
And is in Singapore.
Yes.
They
In
told me
in
this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I say very tough. Where can you put in this box?
That's interesting. Um, I think it's part and parcel of teaching, isn't it? Because it's the students that we know that we are evaluating. And obviously they're going on to the next phase of their lives, and they need the recommendations, and we know them, I think at level best, because they are the ones who attend our classes. The reason why they ask recommendation from us is because I think they feel that we can give them a good perspective about how we can you know how they can progress in that job that they want. So I think, yeah, it does take time, Dr. Abdullah. I agree with you. I agree with you. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Let me get on with the rest of this. So looking back at all that, the things that we have on our plate, um, how do we put this together as an academic, um, as a teacher, as an educator? These are the 4 um, priorities that's been said to be sort of like the core to all this. We need to be able to discover knowledge. We need to link knowledge with one another. We need to integrate what we understand, what we know. We need to teach it. We need to talk about it. We need to use it. We need to apply it in projects and consultancies and in whatever that we do. So it's all of this encompasses things that we do in all of all the job scope tadi. So when we are not doing all these things, this is where the problem comes in. Yeah. So in research, that's the reason why research is so important, because when we don't do research, we are not advancing what we know. We are not asking enough questions. Yeah. um, when I evaluate FRGS proposals, especially, the first thing I look is not the first thing I look is the title, yeah, just to know, the kind of scope that the person wants to do. And then the next thing I would look at is actually the references, because the references would tell me if the issues that's been presented in that proposal is um, uh, new, it's current, it's something that people are talking about, and if I can search for some of the articles and have an idea of what people are thinking about at that time, then I would know if the proposal is actually going to contribute to knowledge. Yeah, because there's a lot of research, unfortunately, proposals that have been sent in where the ideas are too old, and it's just not worth investigating, because when you ask for FIGS proposals, you're asked to look for things which you can add on, yeah, to current understanding. So what is the contribution that you foresee from that project? So that's FRGS, yeah. As an academic, we need to also be able to have these integration skills. We need to transfer, if you will, or transform what we're learning with things that's going on in the society. Yeah, things which goes around, outside of campus. How do we make this possible? How do we synthesize it in a way that other people will understand it as well? And this is where I think teaching plays a huge role, because in teaching we are learning how to interact with other people and to help them to understand the core components in the content that we're trying to teach. So the development of understanding, the sharpening of skills to make people become very good in what they do, that I think that is very, very important. And I think when we apply, we also rethink what we know, yeah, because we want to suit it to the context in which we are trying to teach. So this brings me to the next bit, which is hang on, yeah. So what is reflection? So reflection is that process of looking at what we do. Yeah, the reflection is that process of asking questions. What have we done? How did we do it? Why did we do it? What are the areas that is limiting or challenging? And is there any other ways for us to address it? Yeah. How do we make it better if we want to do the same thing in future lessons? So in reflection, we are looking at ourselves. We're not looking at other people, we're looking at ourselves. Yeah. So how do we justify our actions, particularly in class, particularly in the way that we are conducting our lessons? And it involves three things. Yeah, three things. If you can't remember anything else from my lecture, remember this. It's that returning to the experience. It's looking back at the experience. So it has to be something that has happened. Yeah, so we can re-examine and attending to the feelings. And this is not something which is comfortable to a lot of people, because if you don't feel that you want to talk about, why did I do this, why did I do that, what was I thinking, blah blah blah, it's very personal. Yeah, it's very personal, and sometimes we're not used to it, and we may not have even have the vocabulary to talk about it. So how do we put it together to justify what we do? Yeah, and that leads towards the evaluation of that whole experience itself. So you have gone through 4 courses right now, yeah, with PGD. What are your biggest takeaways? What are the things that you feel you're learning from, the 4 different components that you've seen so far? Yeah. What is it that you can take take with you as an educator? Yeah, and what are the things that you felt like it doesn't make sense at all because it doesn't happen in your class, or you have not seen it happen in your class? So I'm sure there are some components which totally does not link, but what do you make of that? What does that tell you? Yeah, what does that tell you as a person who is teaching? So questions like that has got to be in the background all the time. So it helps us situate the way that we understand things. Yeah, it helps to do that. So I'm going to stop here and ask if you have any comments about this. Can we open a discussion a bit? Sorry. Ya, silakan. Industrial attachment, Asrani, yeah, you're right. Industrial attachment is part of supervision actually. I didn't put it as one item, but that's just generally what our job scope is. Yeah. Does anyone have any comments about what reflection is all about first? Can I ask?
Hi,
I feel
Doctor.
like
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yes, okay.
go ahead, it's okay.
Okay. For me, I think reflection has been um, a bit confusing for me. This is my first time teaching as well,
Mhm.
but I have been doing it a lot since now we're doing online teaching,
Yeah.
and sometimes it can get quite tiring because you're learning from each class and you're asking why are my student not understanding what I'm saying, or why are they not implementing what I'm teaching them. So I think, yeah, I'm still figuring it out as well, but I think I'm learning bit by bit along the way.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that is very important. So being a teacher is actually, in a way, learning about your own style as well and how you can best deliver
Mm.
the learning units. So
Mm.
yeah, that's my takeaway of reflection.
Oh, that's good. And that is a good first step, Natasha, to recognize that the learning for us as the person doing the teaching actually never stop. A lot of people think that, oh, because you're a lecturer, you know everything, so you don't have to learn anything anymore. Nak bila dah ada, pangkat, and stuff like that. So no, it doesn't mean that. You have a doctorate, but you know what? There's still a lot more that you have to learn, after the doctorate. And I think we need to always keep, asking questions. We need to always keep pushing for more, pushing for the quality to always be better than what we did the last time. Yeah. So how do you do that? You can't do it kalau kosong. Yeah. You can't do it if you don't know anything or you don't ask questions. You can't. You have to have interactions with people, with things that you're reading. Yeah. So and I think this is where being in academia, I think, is a wonderful opportunity to do this, because we have the library at our disposal. We have smart people around us. There's no excuse not to be smarter. So yeah. Anissa, up to you.
I was thinking earlier that this sounds like muhasabah diri.
Yeah, it is after all reflection.
Yeah, but the thing you said just now about keep on asking question and keep on learning, that touched a deep part, because yes, after getting a PhD, it feels like, dude, you know nothing of the world. That's really really true actually. And PhD only means that you know your area and you know a very small part of it even,
Yeah,
but you don't know the rest. So that's what I feel a lot of time.
betul. And that feeling of not being comfortable is actually quite good, because that also signals that you want to be on top of things. Yeah. And how do you do that? You need to read across, not just your thing, but also across, meaning that how do other people interpret what you know? Because sometimes bila kita tak bercampur, we don't mix around and talk to people from different disciplines, we don't see how they view what we understand. So kadang-kadang there are gaps in the way that we understand things even, but only until we start talking to people, when we start looking at other people's strengths, yeah, and sometimes limitations as well. You get a feeling like, okay, now what can I learn from this? What can I do to add on to what I know? Yeah. Those of you who are coming from the professional apa nama, professional jobs, those of you who are architects, accountants, lawyers, this is, I think, your first time teaching, and I'm sure it is a struggle. Yeah, because a lot of the things that you're dealing with in the class is actually dynamic. Dia bertukar, and students have their own moods.
Mm.
Every class has its own climate, and not every class is the same. And you cannot treat everyone in the class similar to how you did in the previous class. It's the constant struggle. But understanding that, and also to realize that there are different ways of attending to things. Some may get it immediately, some may not get it. But you know what? You are the one who has the content knowledge. I remember when I first came into my class, when I came back from my master's. It was a long time ago. My goodness, that's 1997. Some of you are probably still in school. Um, and what do you call it? I remember I was actually scared to come into that class, and I thought like, oh my God, my students were older than me. I was teaching a apa nama program perguruan. They were coming into the university to Unimas to learn how to teach English properly at that time. So we had a TESOL program a long time ago. So anyhow, when I first came into the class, I was scared. I was really scared. I didn't know what to do. I knew my content, but I didn't know whether people would actually believe me, because I was younger than them. A lot of the people in the class at that point in time were 30 plus and above. I was only 27, 26, 27 that time. So and I was like, how do I address this? And after that first class, which I think went very blunt, because I wasn't able to predict whether it was how is it going to be. So after that first class, I jotted down all of the things that happened during that session, and I remember thinking like, I only came in and taught what I needed to teach, but I did not appeal to the students. So there was very minimal interaction. There was, because I was busy controlling my um, content rather than trying to interact with them and trying to get them to understand from my point of view. So it was more of me presenting. It's like going to a conference, you present your work and that's it. There's not much of an interaction. So that was where I knew that I had to do something. And I started talking to people who were also coming back from their masters at that time. There was a lot of us. We were the first batch of tutors in Unimas, so we came back almost at the same time. So we had frequent kopitiam discussions, and apa tu dekat Samarahan. And all of us were struggling. With our lessons, whether nak admit ataupun tidak aja. So and that then I came to a realization. I said, there must be a reason why I'm here teaching them who have 10, 15 years of experience more than me. I was afraid of that. But I thought facing that fear will eventually help me use this as an opportunity to become better and at engaging my students. So I started using different ways, different approaches to talk to them in class. I couldn't talk down to them like what we're doing dekat undergrad, because they were older than me. So that did not work. That did not work. So I had to use different strategies in terms of addressing them, and I got them to be involved, to be more involved in my classes. But the first thing that I said to myself is that you are the one with the content knowledge. So you're the one who knows what you're teaching. They are here because they want to learn from you. So coming into your class, position yourself as that dulu lah. Yeah. You have to know your content knowledge. You need to know your content knowledge really, really well. That you're not BSing through the process. You really know what it is, and then you are able to translate that for your students, and I think that is where it starts to make sense. So yeah, any questions at this point? I've been teaching for so long. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Ping Ping, you've been here for a while, and I think it's it's good that you come back and apa nama, revisit, ways of teaching, ways of you know putting together instruction. I know it is detailed. I know it is frustrating sometimes, but um the effect is towards your learners, yeah, how your learners would actually respond to you, and you have a system. You have a system in your head as to how you can rationalize all that, and I think that's where it's important. And that's why we talk about reflection. That's why we talk about why this is the last bit in that teaching that you need to know, yeah, because this is where it starts to sort of make sense. This is where it starts to apa, become a coherent form in some sense. Yeah. Any questions from anyone? You guys are super quiet today. Do you want me to create a Jamboard board so you can conteng? Would that work for you?
Yeah, why not? Okay, it's 53.
Right, sekejap, eh. I don't intend to have a long session with you. My lectures are actually already recorded. Jamboard.
Doctor, I just have a question. Like talking about reflection, sometimes in the course that we're teaching, we have reflection for students, right? So what would you suggest? Do we do reflections like every learning units, or like after 6 learning units, or after the whole course has finished? What do you suggest?
It depends on it depends on the nature of your content. Kalau your content is technical, I would suggest at the end of the course, you have uh, you have them draw out for you like one mind map. You know, one mind map based on what they've learned in that particular um, lesson. Because sometimes they need to understand that in order to move on to the next unit or the next lesson. Jadi you want to be sure that what they understand is in sync with what you expect. Jadi I find mind maps to be very useful. It's apa nama, it's rudimentary. People just conteng whatever they want. However, kalau digunakan dengan bagus, you can actually have a few examples in the class. Kalau semua orang tak dapat pun tak apa. Selalunya kalau saya lah, saya banyak macam saya mengajar kelas, normally my classes are like my linguistics class can go up to about 150, 160 because I teach the whole batch. So how do you manage that kind of input from 150, 160 students? I get everyone to do it. Yeah, everyone has to have this piece of mind map. Dia kena hantar dekat saya. So I will take a look at it, and then very quickly you can tell what exactly the class gets from your instruction tadi. Yeah, so and then you can point out already which ones which is exemplary. The exemplary ones, take it out, show it to the rest of them. Yeah, and then you will see, if you do this constantly, you will see that the students will improve the way that they articulate what they understand, yeah, over the semester. So jangan look for, I think, kesalahan, yeah, but rather use it as your opportunity to teach them, because kadang-kadang they don't understand what we know, yeah, and then what we want them to understand, because maybe our language is a bit too high for them, yeah, and dia orang tak berani tanya, they are afraid to ask. So how do you do that? Ask them to draw, yeah. If they're not comfortable, if you see that they're not comfortable drawing on their own, because I also saw students yang tidak begitu apa nama keen bila kita buat, suruh dia buat sendiri-sendiri. So I would start the class with pairing them. So you sit with a partner. Yeah, you sit with a partner, you do the mind map. Yeah, so from that partner, then eventually over the semester, it becomes like one person doing one mind map. Yeah, so it worked. Especially kalau macam big classes. I'm sure small classes pun boleh pakai as well. Does it make sense?
Yeah, doctor. Sure. And
Doctor.
even just now when we're talking about like reflection, so I think like as a lecturer, I mean as we teaching students, sometimes we do need to reflect ourselves, right? Sometimes we need to know whether student understand what we are talking, right? Whether, you know, sometimes kita macam shock sendiri kan, cakap depan-depan, then students have like no idea what we are talking about. And so yeah, I agree that sometimes we need to reflect ourselves, and even that at the same time would update ourselves in terms of the content kan, and the technology. Yeah, that's what I want to say.
Yeah, that's true.
Hi,
Uh,
doctor.
Hi.
Okay, so talking about reflection, right? So during my degree year, can we do the reflection at the end of the course, right? And some of my friends, even though they feel like the course is it's not something that they not interested lah, tapi macam you rasa macam that course is not appealing to you. So tapi when they did the reflection, they tend to give the good reviews lah, you know. Tapi actually they don't feel like that.
Yeah.
Kan? So what do you think about that?
As long as it doesn't disturb the flow of the lesson, it's fine. We can't have everyone to be truthful. Itu personal. To me, kalau kita sendiri sebagai the person teaching, kita truthful. You know, kita keep to our own ethics. Kita tak menipu, ya. Kita tak goreng apa tu kita punya content, ya. We don't lie about our content. We don't make up things as we're teaching. I think it comes across in the way that you teach, and students would appreciate that. You know, there are students yang mungkin, I think this is also uh, an impact from social media lah, where you always try to feel good or try to look good all the time. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
don't want to show like the bad side of things because you know that it's going to be reported somewhere in social media. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's an impact lah, Ayu. I'm glad you brought it up. Tapi at the same time kan, we cannot jaga orang lain punya niat. That's what I believe. You know,
Yeah. That's correct.
It's up to people lah. Tapi
Yeah.
kalau we come into the class and our nawaitu is correct, our niat is correct, you know, and then we want to sincerely want to teach and we want to share what we know, you know, whatever that we know, we share what we know. I think that comes across, yeah, through to the students. Siapa yang betul-betul nak belajar, dia akan belajar. Siapa yang tak nak, itu yang disconnect tu. And then itu yang kita rasa macam kadang-kadang are we not doing enough? You know?
Yeah.
So bila frustration, particularly those of you who are teaching online right now, you know, the biggest frustration sebenarnya ialah kita tak dapat buat the assessment. You know, you can't see the students' faces. Right now, I can't see your faces. You know,
Yeah.
I'm just talking to a blank wall of names. But you know, kalau macam kalau you rasa that the students are are slacking off, meaning that they do not want to participate, it's really up to them. Yeah, it's really up to them. Kita tak boleh nak control pun. You know, there are things that mungkin I found out recently, macam my students bila dah duduk di rumah, they have to do, you know, the house chores because the parents have to go to work. Some parents that are, you know, get let off from work and they have to do part-time jobs and stuff like that. So there are things in the house that they don't want to show, you know, and dia tak nak buka kamera tu sebab dia rasa macam itu akan mengaibkan dia, you know. So for whatever reason it is, let go. Itu je saya boleh pesan kat you all. Let go. Don't feel that you have to know everything, that you have to jaga and control everything. But not, guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Ah,
Okay,
yeah,
doctor.
yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. No problem. Lagi ada lagi nak tanya?
Another question, doctor.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm actually still confused also over my own question, but I'll try my best to explain.
Okay.
How do you get quality feedback from the students as well? Because most of the time when you ask them, they give really simple answer like, yeah, it was fun. Yes, I understand. Maybe they just wanna, get this done and then they just want to go home or they just want to off the class. So it's hard to get back that quality feedback that you need.
Yeah.
And also I think part of it is that they also don't know how to give feedback. So is there a way to like help this situation?
It boils down to language actually. Sebab kadang-kadang students don't have the vocabulary um, to um, to explain, to describe what they know. Ya, jadi bila you ask for feedback, they will only tell you what is on the surface. You
Yeah.
know, and to them it's like enough lah tu, cukup lah tu. Tapi kalau you want more, then you need to prod that. You need to probably give them some kind of a structure. What is it specifically in this lesson that you didn't understand? You know, what was the most challenging point that you have? So in the way that you ask your question, they will have to focus on something. So jangan tanya yang bagus saja, tanya yang tak bagus juga. You know, tapi kita sebagai educator, we have to be prepared lah. Kita kena tak boleh takut feedback.
Yeah.
Because a lot of lecturers takut feedback. So apa tu, we have to face it lah. Kadang-kadang it works, kadang-kadang it doesn't work. Nak buat macam mana? Kan? Tapi kita kena cakap diri sendiri dulu. Kita kena cakap feedback, kita open to it. Ya, jangan pula bila student bagi feedback kita go like, oh my god, I want to bury myself right now, I don't want to teach anymore, you know, that kind of thing. So if you self-medicate yourself, jadi macam what's the point? Macam kalau macam tu tak payah tanya feedback lah.
Yeah, true. Okay, thank you, doctor.
No problem. So the way that you ask questions, yeah. Okay.
Doctor.
Yes, saya. Yes, Dr. Abdullah.
Dr. Fitri.
Yes.
How do you make students to read? Actually, I see that I fail to make my students read. They don't read. Even the slide, which is clear and precise. How do you make them to read?
How do you make them read? That's a good question. They have to have a reason to read. So if you're asking them to read and okay, I'll ask you guys this question. Do you read everything that I put up on eLeap?
No.
I was afraid that you're gonna ask that.
Okay, so think of it that way. It's why do you not want to read it?
No time.
Okay, lagi? What
Too
else?
Too many.
Okay, lagi?
Don't understand.
You don't understand. Okay, good. Those
because it's not part of the evaluation.
Pardon?
It's not part of the assessment.
Yeah. See, you're thinking, remember the critical matrix? You're thinking just like your students. Yeah? You're thinking
for
just
them
like
it's
your
too much.
students.
For them it's too much.
For them it's too much. For you it's
Yes.
also too much.
No.
I think it's the same.
Same. It's the same. Yeah, it's the same. Tak ada bezanya. It's the same. Yeah, your reasons are exactly the same as, our students. Yeah, until and
Well,
unless
we are students.
Yeah, I'm not
We
saying
are
you're wrong.
students. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, I'm Cindy here. I see that, I don't read all of your materials because I feel like all the excuses that was given. But then when I think back, I am like my student. Students also say they don't have time, there are too many things to read, this so on and so forth. But we are like students, so that's something that I think we cannot deny. But of course, that's something that we need to improve on our own lah.
Exactly. Exactly. And that is being brave, Cindy, that you're able to admit, to say that, you know what, these are the flaws that we see anyhow in our classroom. And for you to know that you're actually repeating this as well, not, I'm sure it's not just in my class, in the other modules as well, why does this happen? It's because, you know, it maybe does is not functional to you. It's probably, it's not a one quick solution. If you notice right now, people tend to want to have something summarized for them. Yeah. People want to say, okay, give me the infographics of this. Don't tell me to read, article XYZ, because just give me the figures and let me figure it out. Um, the danger of this is that we may not understand things fully. So kalau kita nak understand things in a whole spectrum of things, then we have to read. Unfortunately, we have to read. We have to digest this. We need to we need to be sure that we got our bases covered, because we want to be subject matter experts. You see, you want to be the subject matter experts, bukannya just another lecturer, XYZ in Unimas. No, you want to be somebody that people refer to. At one point in time, people will go to Cindy Peter, masuk Unimas sebab nak belajar dengan Cindy Peter. Possible? Yes, it is possible. I will tell you straight on, that is very, very possible. People come in to belajar architecture dengan Syazwan sebab Syazwan yang mengajar. Possible? Yes, it is possible. But you have to be good in what you do. Yeah, that's why saya cakap tadi, going back again, content knowledge tu kena strong. Your content knowledge has got to be strong, and the way that you're presenting your content knowledge has got to be equally strong, so that people remember what we are building in our learning events. Yeah, the classes that we have are memories. People remember things that make sense to them. Yeah, kalau it does not make sense to them, they will just push it out and bye-bye. Tapi how do you do that? This is where the pedagogical knowledge comes in. How do you teach it effectively? How do you help people make sense out of all this? Yeah. Kezra asked Mujan, how to be neutral towards our own practice. We feel we're the best in the world. Yeah, you're right. You're in an environment where it actually propagates that. Yeah, that you are the best in the world. Everybody around you are straight A students. Yeah. Very easy to forget. Yes, you're correct. Tapi I think kalau you constantly push the envelope, you constantly ask for or find different ways as to how other people are doing it, then you realize that, you know what, you're just beginning. There's a lot of other things that you don't know. I'll give you an example. I think I've been in Unimas for so long. But this is my personal story. Yeah, I was teaching Chua Kiman when he was doing his undergrad. Yeah, and I was teaching a course called computer assisted language learning. That was a long time ago. He was doing his undergrad. I think he was in his third year. And when he finished undergrad, he went on to the masters. And when he did his masters, I was his examiner. So from undergrad going on to masters, I saw a huge improvement in the way that Kiman understands the use of technology for education, the way that he conceptualized his thesis, and the way it's coming along. And now, many years after that, he's already he's already a full-fledged lecturer, and I write papers with him. He's in project research projects with me. and I could see how he has evolved. And now, especially mengajar online. Like last year, everybody had to teach online. He was the first person that I went to ask for help. And this is me teaching him 20 years ago. And it has come like really full circle. And there's a lot of things that Kiman is so adept to that I find it very difficult to learn. But because he's doing it, it tells me that I can do it as well. So, I'm an old geezer in terms of, academic punya life. But if I don't open that opportunity, and kalau saya bawa ego saya to say that I don't want to learn from my student, he was my student, he was in my class, for crying out loud, I don't want to learn from my student, I'm better than him. Kalau saya bawa saya punya ego macam tu to the way that I work, then I don't think I'm going to progress. Yeah, I don't think I would be able to do things as I would. So yeah, just a little sharing lah. Does that make sense, Mujan? Yeah, anybody else want to ask anything? No? The Jamboard is also quiet. All right, so sorry. So now the reflections. Yeah, so reflections has 3 elements: returning to that experience, attending to what you feel, and also to evaluate that whole experience, plus the emotions that you feel is evoked through the learning itself. Yeah, so 2 main types of reflection, which is what you do on action and what you do in action, which means that while you're teaching. Yeah, on action is essentially when you're finished the whole cycle, and then you come back to it and then to evaluate. So I'm not going to go through all this because it's actually all in the slides that I prepared for you. It's and also the video links. You can watch it a bit later. But I just want to focus on this. So 3 types of reflection that you have to remember. Yeah. What is it that we want to reflect? Yeah, the question from Natasha tadi. When what are the things that you ask the students to reflect on? So you can categorize them according to macam first of all the content. That content, is it going through to the students as how it should be at the level in which they are learning? Yeah, because you want to know what are the comprehension issues that students have about the content. So focus on how much that content worked for the students, yeah, in the delivery that you've done. So that is one. Yeah, the content itself, the core to all this. How much is it? Is it too much? Is it too little? Is it repetitive of what they have learned in different courses, or is it something that they can build on from previous courses, and you found a way to link between what they have learned before with what you're teaching right now. So that is content. The second one is the process. Process means that you're looking at your strategies, the way that you deliver this content. Are you just putting it like face-to-face lectures, or you create like an animation of the things, the core things in the content, and then you ask them to to attempt that animation. Macam katakanlah dia ada soalan, it has questions in it, and you want them to attempt the questions within that application that you have built for them. How is it that you are getting them to be involved in understanding that content? So that is the process of instruction. Yeah. Remember the Gagne 9 steps that you guys have done last week? Use that as a way for you to decipher stage mana yang confusing for students. Yeah, which stage is not helping the students? Which stage is making them, not grasping the value of that lesson itself? So from those stages, it helps you to rethink about what are the things that may not work for that cohort, that batch of students. It worked in the previous one, but in this group, dia mungkin tak faham, katakanlah. So what can you do? Mungkin my mapping worked for the cohort before this, but in this cohort, it didn't work because nobody turned in the mind map, for instance. So what do? Get them to do flip grid videos, for instance, because they didn't want to draw, they didn't want to write, they just want to talk. So ask them to do videos. That's also one way to get reflections. Yeah. You can analyze this and you can use it for you to plan for your next lesson, your future lesson. And the last one is actually the premise. Like, consider the learning issue that you saw in the students. Did it come from your course alone, or is it coming from other courses alone? Other courses that's contributing to this, So, like for instance, I've heard of colleagues complaining about students who come to third year courses did not know basic things that they should have learned in the first year courses. Yeah, so this is trying to understand the whole premise of teaching that not subject, but the whole program itself. So that has got to be addressed at the curriculum review sessions. And as an instructor teaching one of the courses, we have the opportunity and also the right to say something about this. Ya, jangan biar benda ni under the carpet. Don't sweep it all under the carpet. No, talk about it frankly, and you have to be honest about this, because when katakanlah you're teaching mathematics, the basic mathematics that they're supposed to learn in year one is not working as well as it should. When they come to year three, when they're supposed to use the mathematics, in a different form, they can't use it. So what's the problem? So this is a systemic review that needs to be done at the curriculum review process at your faculty. So yeah, any feedback on this? What do you guys think about this? These three things that you can reflect on. Anyone? Maybelline?
Hi, Doctor.
Hi.
I'm just enjoying all your sharing. Sangat asyik. Sampai tak berapa. Well, for reflection, I think for me, if you're asking about, I give you my reflection on the reflection that you are teaching right now. I think I'm one of those people in the category whereby I'm quite afraid of reflection.
Okay.
Because I try to prepare as much as possible before my class, and I try to go into my class ready. But then, when you get a negative feedback, it somehow you feel a bit crushed and demotivated. So I would place myself in that category. So usually, if I ask for reflections from my students, I like to use yang word cloud. It's either very bad or very good, but word cloud, I think, is not a very good way if you want to improve your lectures, because the students will just give you one word. I remember, I think when I was the coordinator for communication skill, I used to do an event which was the bazaar. I got most of the time, I would say 80% good feedbacks, but there are students who also gave very negative feedback. I think it's normal, right? So, you know, just baca saja lah. Lepas tu, you feel like, what am I doing all this for nothing? But you feel bad for a day or two, but after that, it's all right.
Yeah.
Then I try to, sometimes I get feedback where they say it's too much work or it's exhausting. I try to, in the next round, I try to reduce beban as I shorten the hours and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a very good feedback, Maybelline. I appreciate that. The what you were feeling, you know, about um fear, fear of getting the feedback. Fear is actually very much associated with um how we view ourselves. Yeah, and I felt the same way as well. I takut. I was seriously scared, you know. And I'm the one trained in education. And what do you call it? Bila kita dapat feedback, rasa macam, oh my god, I'm so worthless, you know, like people don't understand me. And then it's just like one or two comments. Oh my god, you know. And then you know, you tak ada mood for the whole day, you know, just because you dapat, you know, some negative feedback. Tapi the majority selalunya is positive. InsyaAllah positive lah if we do our preparations well. Yeah, when students can see the flow of what we are trying to teach them, normally they will respond quite well. I think that again it depends on how much you want to take in. Kalau the negative feedback is to help you to construct a better way to teach, take it. Yeah, take it. Jangan ignore it. You know, walaupun kadang-kadang is bad, use it to your advantage. It's not supposed to be something that will hamper your capability as an educator. Yeah, we are all learning. We are never born tiba-tiba jadi, you know, pensyarah yang sangat berjaya. Tidak ada. Tidak ada.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess when the first time you read it, it's a bit hard to swallow, but then sometimes I leave it for a few days, then I come back to it again, and it's easier to digest the comments that the students give. But like what you say, I think it's important if we want to improve ourselves. Kalau kita tak nak improve, then it's just ignorance is bliss lah, right?
That's right. That's right. Itulah tadi, kalau I give you the three categories, the content, and then the theory, and then also the premise. Kadang-kadang, you know, students kadang-kadang bila dia masuk our class, they cannot link with what they have learned in the previous course. Jadi bila masuk kelas kita, ini kita ajar a certain way, and then you know, we all have affinities to certain things yang kita suka. That obviously kita akan gunakan in our class, ya. And then dia tak boleh buat the link. Jadi itu yang buat confusing tu. So apa nama, and then probably because katalah macam mathematics tadi, I explain to you tadi pasal mathematics. They're supposed to know the basic already, but they come to your class not knowing anything about the basic, and then obviously you're frustrated. Obviously it will, you know, trickle down to the way that you're delivering your content, because you not only have to cover what you need to teach, you also have to rewind what is supposed to be taught in the previous class. Jadi that can be kadang-kadang the effect to the students is that dia rasa macam, kenapa ulang balik, tapi sebenarnya dia tak tahu pun. Dia tak cukup tahu to get to the level yang mana you are teaching right now. You know what I mean? So that's why kadang-kadang feedback daripada student ni, we have to take with a pinch of salt lah. Yeah. The reason why kadang-kadang they write in a negative way is not because of us. It's because of the lack of comprehension ataupun even the misconception. Ya, misconception. Dia mungkin faham satu cara sahaja in a previous class. Yeah, they only understand in a certain way only because that lecturer who taught them before is only comfortable in that way. Yeah, so when they go into your class where they have to apply the knowledge, they're not able to do that. Yeah, they're not able to put it together because they're not used to it. Yeah, and then you're sharing, you came back from your PhD, you know, baru, and you know, hebat, baru tahu kita punya, you know, subject matter expertise, blah blah blah. you are introducing something new, and then all of a sudden they go like, how to relate nak tanya takut, nak tanya takut. Nanti kalau tanya takut kena marah. Kalau tanya nampak macam tak smart pula lah depan kawan-kawan, so all these things are also hanging around in the student's head. Tapi we have to take that into consideration lah juga, when we're listening to feedback, because bukan semua feedback is actually reflective of the actual situation.
Yeah, okay, Doctor. Thank you.
Thank you. I just found out that you are friends with Azani, by the way. So Azani is in one of my research projects.
Yeah, we're classmates, but I haven't seen her since school.
I see.
Yeah.
Any other questions by anyone?
Doctor,
Yes.
are you comfortable when management consider student reflection as a factor to value the teacher quality?
Okay. Are you talking about the end of course evaluation?
Yes.
Okay. It was I actually know the history of this thing. It was a necessary thing that had to be done because of an MQA requirement a long time ago, and we did not have something that is standard across the university to be able to capture what our students think of our teaching. Now, what it lacks is the specific feedback on the effectiveness of the content itself, the content learning itself. That should be addressed within each course. The questions that was generated for the end of course evaluation is very generic because it's supposed to cut across all different types of disciplines, and all of us are teaching more than 1,000 courses in UNIMAS, so it cannot be something that is specific to just one discipline. But I think if you want to get content feedback on whether how much your students actually understand what we're teaching, it has to come in a different form, and it has to be, I think, personalized by the instructors themselves. So that is just like one bit of an indicator of how well instruction is delivered. How instruction is delivered, that was what it was meant to be. And I think you can tell those who did do really well in the evaluations are those who probably needed a bit more a way to make the instructional strategies a bit more effective. It's normally leaning towards that. It's just a visual way to say that, there's probably some areas in the way that we are delivering our instruction that is not making sense for the students, or the students don't understand it because there are certain things that is missing from the way that we are delivering. So yeah.
Okay.
Ada lagi nak tanya? Nick? Are you here, Nick?
Yes, I'm here.
You have
No
any questions?
questions so far.
You've been teaching for a while, kan, Nick?
Yes, 10 years already.
10 years. So what do you feel? Where are you at in terms of your career, you think, as an instructor, as an educator?
Well, I'm not quite sure how to answer that question, but going back to the earlier slide that you showed just now, where you showed the roles of the lecturers, like doing teaching, doing supervision, and then also doing consultation. Right now, I'm at a phase where I feel like I'm a lecturer, but also I'm a student at the same time, because right now I'm doing my thesis correction for my PhD.
Yeah.
And then also at the same time doing this PGD thing. and then teaching, and then also becoming program coordinator. So sometimes for me, I feel things can become quite overwhelming.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure it is, because the different roles that you're playing at the same time right now, isn't it? And sometimes it's quite hard to balance, and being a lecturer itself, as you can see, is already this much. So and then you're taking on the role as a student as well, not just in your PhD but also in this PhD program. So there are things that we are bound to miss, and there are things that we are bound to prioritize as well. And you know what, guys? It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. Don't feel that you have to take on everything. Itu yang kadang-kadang kita rasa lemas tu. We will feel suffocated because of you know um, you're taking on so much. Every feedback matters to you. No, choose the ones that will build you. Yeah, the same thing as what you're doing with your apa nama, the different things that you're doing here, your job scope. There will be things that will overwhelm you. Like for instance, I'll give an example. You want to send a paper for publication, and the paper gets reviewed, and the reviewer came back to you like 4 or 5 times asking you to correct things. And it's taking you a lot of time to just address the concerns that the reviewer have. But essentially, you know what, from that whole process, even though at that point in time it's very stressful, you have a short deadline to complete the editing and stuff like that. What you gather from that experience is what is most important. Yeah, I think it teaches endurance, it teaches resilience, it teaches a way to be a little bit more analytical, yeah, from the perspective of other people, so that your work becomes comprehensible to a whole lot more audience, comparatively to how you actually started writing that paper. So it's sometimes it can get frustrating. I will tell you that. um but I think we balance lah, ambil mana yang you rasa boleh membantu. There are things which will happen in your lives, I think, in this career, where it does not make sense at all. You are put in some jawatankuasa that you have no idea head or tail what is going on. um just play the role, jangan decline, just play the role. At least you know what is not for you, what is for you. Kadang-kadang kita will find our own niche bila kita interact with people. So what I'm trying to say is that um take it as it comes, but find a way to pick and choose which ones will teach you a lesson, which ones will make you become a better educator. How does this relate to how you're gonna produce your instruction to your students? How you want to help people to make sense of this experience? Because again, all that is actually communication, your interaction with other people. Ini semua mengajar kita bagaimana nak communicate dengan orang. Ya, kalau kita tak boleh communicate dengan orang, this is where it gets lost. And people don't understand us, people don't, they can't even make sense of what we're trying to say. So going back to your classroom, if you don't have that communication skills, if you don't have that ability to explain or to interpret what you mean, this is where your students feel like, oh my God, what in the world is going on in this class? And this is where they can't connect. Yeah, so it's all linked together. Semua ni is all linked together. The synergy is the same. Yeah. Is it too much, guys? Can I stop here?
Yeah.
So I want to leave you with this. The characteristics of reflective educators. Always ask questions. That's my I hope you can take away from this. Be intellectually curious, yeah, because that is the only way that you can expand what you know. um, Find out, what other people are doing, and try to see what are the things that you can do better than them, yeah. But you have to know that first. You have to know your competition, and actively reflect on what goes on, yeah. At the end of the year, I think the SKT is a nice way to sort of relook, reassess your energy for the whole year, yeah. No matter what marks you get, yeah, no matter what marks you get, um, you will still be able to see the things that you have contributed towards yourself, yeah, in that whole year. So use that as your yardstick for you to do better in the next year. Yeah, no matter who the boss is. Yeah, don't worry about who the boss is or how much marks they're going to give you for your sasya, that is besides the point. But 85% of it is actually within your control. So do the best that you can, yeah, in within your capabilities. If you know that you are lacking in something, do something about it. Yeah, recognize this kelemahan, recognize the limitation, yeah, recognize the weakness, and find a way to do something about it. Jangan tinggal at the back burner and say, oh, I'll deal with it later when it's more important in my face, kind of thing. No, yeah, deal with it. Develop experience-based theories of change. You will go through, I think, a few cycles of change when you you're in this career, because no doubt as an academic, um, a lot of your ideas about things will be challenged. um, People will want to see different ways of looking at things, yeah, and then this evolve because of the world evolves anyhow. So we can't be teaching the same way that we're teaching 20 years ago as the way how you're teaching now, for instance. So um, we have to test new ways of looking at things. So experience based theories of change, that's why it's important to document the experience. Macam Nick tadi, you have been teaching for 10 years. I'm sure that you have seen how the cohorts of students that you've met, yeah, in your classes. If you're teaching the same course, you can see how they are different from year to year. Yeah, the students that you have right now is different from the ones 5 years ago. So do you document this? Do you try to make sense of that? And what are the things that you are actively developing for yourself? How can we say that we are teaching when yet we don't renew the way that we teach all the time? So we need to always do this, to rethink and reposition our strengths, and also to recognize what are our limitations in order to become better, and to test this series into practice, obviously, yeah, and so that you can see whether what you're planning, what you're thinking, what you're capable of is actually something that can be done, can be conducted, yeah, and um, and to use this understanding to further develop knowledge, in Unimas. We still lack this, and I think we need more conversations from people like you, to continue to push boundaries in disciplines that we profess in. And I think there's a whole lot of room to grow, particularly in Unimas, yeah. And knowing the strengths and limitations, these are the ones that I think will build for us to become apa nama a force to be reckoned with. I guess, to be a group that people segan, people recognize, people say that, oh my God, these are lecturers from Unimas, semua hebat-hebat. Sometimes it only takes like one person yang tak hebat, you come into the group, go like, oh, so tapi kalau kita sama-sama build this, and I think we will stand a chance to be, recognized in the field that we're teaching. And that ability to use a range of methods, range of tools, these things come and go. Yeah, things that you're learning right now mungkin is not gonna work anymore in 5 years down the road, but you find out what is going to be happening in that 5 years down the road kind of thing. So always keep yourself updated. Yeah, always ask, always find out, even though that we're learning from, you know, the younger groups, tak apa, it's okay. Yeah, and use that to your own advantage. Yeah, and yeah, this one nanti later lah, you guys can go through my lecture, but I want to leave you with this. Okay, so yeah, so who are you as a lecturer? Are you intending to become an entertainer? Are you a disciplinarian where you want to control every single thing that happens in your class? Do you command the subject matter knowledge? You know, do people look up to you because of what you know in that field? Are you able to encourage interaction? Do you allow students make mistakes? And do you allow for them to correct their mistakes? And how much time do you give them to do you allow for them to make those mistakes? Yeah. Do you exude enthusiasm when you're teaching? You know, or you go like, tak minat subjek ni, saya mengajar hubungan etnik, saya tak suka kursus ni, you know, that kind of thing. Students will pick it up, yeah, very easy. So walaupun kita tak suka, we try to find ways to make it interesting. Yeah, sebab itu responsibility kita. That is our amanah. That is what we we're entrusted with, and our responsibility as an educator is that we try to teach what we can. Yeah, we try to teach what we can and make it interesting. Are you motivating? Yeah, be a role model. Kalau masuk kelas, if you're walking into class, you know, don't drag your feet. Students can see that, you know, walk with dignity, walk with, you know, your passion, your confidence when you walk into class. For the ladies, sorry I have to say this, tapi saya selalu tegur dalam any PG cohort that I teach. When you come to class, put on some makeup, you know, don't dress like students, you know, make an effort, guys. And then bila mengajar, for instance, online pun tak apa, yeah, put some lipstick on. It's very simple, tapi kadang-kadang kita lupa, yeah, because when we're doing this virtually like this, what people see is what they can see in this square, and that's it. Yeah, this is impression, and sometimes because of the impression, students tend to make up their mind to say that ala lecturer pun tak peduli, you know, they go like lecturer macam kisah tak kisah je, so okay lah, I am not going to you know, spend as much effort as possible in this course. It's human nature, guys. Yeah, it's human nature versus, you know, people coming in and then all basically dressed up, you know, walaupun it's just setengah saja, tapi it looks on the screen as if macam, oh, this person is serious. Yeah, this person is serious, and they know what they want. That first impression is what students will carry with them, yeah, when they are interacting with us. Kalau kita selebek je, you know, pakai t-shirt mengajar, you know, and then rambut pun kusut, you know, tak terni. Also that leaves an impression onto the students. Yeah, jadi is that what you want the students to take away from that experience? Are you able to stimulate interest? Yeah, in the way that you put together your activities. Does it look like there's some kind of an organization, yeah, in the flow of your content? Clarity of your instruction, clear ke tidak apa yang dia patut buat, 1, 2, 3 tu cukup ke tidak. Kadang-kadang dah cakap 1, 2, 3 tu pun dia mesti nak tanya lagi, boleh tak, dengar dulu, jangan marah dulu, dengar dulu, ya, boleh tak. So you find a way to negotiate that. Yeah, you negotiate that with with the content. Again, going back to the content, what is it that is most important that they need to take away? Yeah, what is it that is most important for them to take away from that lesson? Jadi go back to the content as your compass. Yeah, as your compass. And yeah, and then putting it all together as something that is useful. Um, and this is my last slide. And I want to leave you with this quote because I think it's meaningful for me. Just to share with you. You will I think we all have our fair share of bad teachers in our lives. People that have come through our own classes where we saw, oh my God, this person really cannot teach. Don't be that person. Yeah, don't be that person. Be a teacher, be an educator that people look up to, that people can engage with, yeah, and people can relate to. Bad teachers normally would distance themselves from people and also the subject matter. So if you're good in your subject matter, naturally you're going to be able to engage with your students as well, because these students are the ones where you are going to test your ideas. Yeah, you need the students in order to test our ideas. We cannot just become a prolific researcher and not teach. Yeah, there's only so much that you can do, your experiments in your lab and everything, but if you can't translate that to the way that students will understand, then I think, you know what, it's probably not worth it. Yeah, it's probably not your place maybe. Yeah. um so good teachers join the self, the person, yeah, your own self, the subjects, and also the students together in one interweaved fabric. Yeah. So how we carry ourselves will be the way that students perceive how they would feel of the subject that we're teaching. So putting it all together is where your skills come in. Yeah, your skills come in. It's not necessarily coming from your content knowledge, tapi inilah what we call the pedagogical skills. Yeah, your pedagogical skills, the way that you put together your instruction. That's the reason why you've been exposed to the different principles of teaching and learning, the theories that Dr. Siti talked to you about, the different theories. How do you pull that together? Nobody is asking you to use just behaviorism, tidak. Nobody is saying that constructivism is the answer to it all, tidak. But it gives you an idea that, okay, I have all these things that I know exist. Other people have investigated them. How do I choose to pilih the ones that will make sense for my class, for what I'm teaching, for the students that I am teaching right now? So that is where that skill come in. That decision making is actually an educated decision making. It's not just raba-raba kat sini pakai mana sempat je. Tidak, it doesn't work like that. Yeah, so that's the reason why you get all this different mix of knowledge. Yeah, and then in curriculum and design, you look at how you create that big picture and how you actually translate into the classroom, and that's the reason why we do instructional design. Yeah, if we don't know how to design our instruction, then macam mana kita nak plan? How do we make sure that the flow is logical? How do we evaluate, yeah, each of the steps of what we're teaching to be something that is logical? It's probably logical on paper, but maybe bila kita carry it out, it's a different story altogether. Yeah, so how do you deal with that? Yeah, what happens kalau it just falls flat on your face? Yeah, after all the planning that you did, when you come to the class, it actually falls flat on your face, so how do you deal with that? So with that knowledge, I hope that you will be able to think on your feet, because you know this already. You've learned this in through the program. So yeah, any last questions, reflections? No. Zoom has lipstick filter. Yeah, you're right, Mujan. Yeah, kalau tak sempat pakai lipstick, pakai Zoom punya filter. Jamilah asked, what's your opinion about students who ask us to do a complete proofread before they submit a particular assignment? You can say no, you know. You don't have to say yes to all your students' requests. Um, yeah, you can say no. It's fine. You know, nobody's gonna hurt you. I think this is where the boundary is important bila kita mengajar. We can be friends with students, but uh, it's not it's not because you want to get a high point in that end of semester evaluation, but rather they know that you mean business. Yeah, jadi kalau kawan, yes, kawan, okay, fine, but not to the point where you bend yourself backwards, you know, just to please them. You know what I mean? So pick and choose your battles, guys. Yeah, if you start ambil everything that students ask you of, then the course becomes the student's course rather than your course. And I don't think you want that to happen, kan? So you know, the reason why they come to you is probably because they feel that, you know, you will oblige. So set the boundary terus. Yeah, Jamila, set the boundary terus and tell them at least they have to work on it first lah before coming to you lah kan. Tapi at least ada lah effort daripada on the student's part. Work-life balance, Asrani. Good question. I'm not an expert in work-life balance, but ayo, how would I say this? It very much depends on what is going on at that point in time. Um, how to say this? Yeah, um, you prioritize. You prioritize what is it that you need at a certain period. That's why you know, every single day when I'm in the office, the first thing I do is I would list all the things that I need to finish on that day. Yeah, and then I would tick it off as soon as I finish. Um, Unfortunately, kadang-kadang there are things that come daripada kayangan that you have to finish on that day juga, and there are some items on your to-do list that you can't complete. In a apa nama, in a big sense, kadang-kadang you feel it is an interruption of your own plan because you have plans for yourself as well, kan? Apa nama? But it's worse kalau macam you don't have a plan at all. It's worse if you come into to work every single day and you have no idea what you're going to do for that day. That is the worst thing ever. So everybody's agenda is going to be your agenda. Itu yang saya rasa akan menjadi crisis for you, because you don't know what you want, you don't know but banyak mana time that you need for whatever thing that you need to do, you know, because you're not allowing yourself to plan for that. You allow orang lain punya agenda to come to you. So I think that is, you know, mistake lah. That's a big mistake that you want to do for yourself. Jadi go in with a plan. Yeah, think about what you want to do. Macam katakanlah you have 12 months to produce a paper. Yeah, one paper or two papers a year. Jangan buat masa Oktober. Buat sekarang lah, kan? Buat sekarang for what you want to produce, katakanlah in October. Start now. Start looking for the for the journals. You know, some journals require money. You have to start saving now. Ya, jangan harap Unimas akan bayar semua, tidak. Ya, so if you want to have grants, jangan tunggu sampai tarikh tutup FRGS. You should have started your planning last year. Yeah, like for instance, for me, how I get international grants, we plan 1 year, 2 years ahead. I already know what I want to get next year, this year. Yeah, the proposal is actually ready this year, January, for next year's submission for the grant that I'm applying in the UK. Yeah, so it cannot be done macam sekejap kan. No, dia kena fikir banyak masa, and that banyak masa is actually you kena baca, and there's a lot of comprehension that you need to, you know, make sure that it's translated in the way that you write the proposal. Yeah, so that's the reason why bila apa nama that's the reason why kalau macam bila kita apa get swayed by other people's agenda, ini yang kadang-kadang kita rasa macam frustrated, and then after a while you get burnt out. Yeah, after a while you get burnt out sebab you yourself tak ada agenda. Yeah, sayang. I feel it's sayang because dalam akademia, those of you who are teaching at university, sorry for yang belum mengajar, allow me a little bit to indulge. For those of you who are teaching at the university, uh, you know, you naik pangkat is actually up to your merit. It's you know, you can naik pangkat anytime as long as you have the merit. It's not about your age. Yeah, it's not about how long you're in the profession. No, yeah, it's about your merit. How good are you? Yeah, and people recognize this from your publications, from your research, from the things that you do, from the things that you share with other people, you know, stuff like that. So it's all about that recognition of your academic merit. Yeah, it's not because oh sampai 40 tahun mesti dapat Profesor Madya. No, no. Yeah, so don't wait for that age. Do the best that you can within the time that you have. Yeah, tapi first of all kena ada plan. Kena ada plan. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions, guys? You guys are
Really
super quiet.
inspired, Doctor. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Really appreciate.
Yeah, sorry membebil sikit.
No, really enjoy listening to all of that.
I feel yalah you know, I'm coming to you you know, with I've been teaching in Unimas for so long, and this is my first job, and probably I'm just gonna retire with it. But I love it. I love teaching in Unimas, and I love the environment. And there's a lot of things that has happened in between, which could have made me leave. You know, I was offered to work some other places. I was even offered to work in the US. I even got job offers in the UK. But sebab saya rasa macam it's a place where I can help other people to grow. That's what I take from it, you know. And I hope that you learn from my mistakes lah, you know. Don't follow everything I say. So, bukannya semua betul pun. Tapi you know, I had my own fair share of mistakes, you know. My biggest mistake I think was that I was involved in administration for such a long time. And ever since I came back from my masters, I was really given admin posts, yeah, throughout. I don't know why people tend to give me things, but I get the job done. I think that's the reason why people saw that value. And apa nama? Tapi I missed out lah. My colleagues, my peers, they all already have their professorships. I have not gotten mine yet. I've applied, but I've not gotten mine yet. But apa nama? What I can see is that walaupun saya tak cepat excel dalam promotions, I have a good network of people that I know, not just researchers but also people macam support staff. You know, when I ask for things, it's easy for me to get things done because I build that relationship. I make an effort to build that relationship. Jadi bila kita perlu pertolongan, they are there for us. Ya, jadi saya nampak kadang-kadang ada lecturers yang tak nak bercakap langsung dengan you know support staff, because support staff is like, oh, you know, it's different class altogether. Don't do that, guys. Yeah, just be nice to everyone lah. Yeah, you never know when they will be helpful to you. Jadi masa saya hantar my submission for my professorship, that was last year, I didn't know that my publications, some of them actually was indexed. I couldn't be bothered. I'm that type. I just write a paper, it gets published and it's fine. You know, I don't bother about this indexing. Cuma is this an REC punya requirement. but you know what? Somebody picked it up and then did a homework. Somebody at the library, yeah. I didn't ask, saya tak suruh apa-apa pun. Dia bantu saya cari the indexes for all of the papers that I wrote. And I thought like, oh my God, you know, where did this come from? And then saya tak kenal sangat this person sebenarnya. You know, and he made sure that his staff, his colleagues bawah dia also tolong saya bantu. And so they had a whole senarai of the indexing for the application. And that went through lah, yeah. So I tak tahu whether dapat ke tidak, but yeah, that was the kind of things that I thought like amazing. This is amazing. This is like you know, I think kalau kita constantly be kind to people, we are open to listen to people, people will respond. And sometimes it's not immediate. Kadang-kadang it takes a while, but yeah, people will come around and tengok, you know, this is actually a person that can be apa nama regarded, ya, dalam dia punya life. Jadi itu yang I hope that I'm bringing for you lah for this course. Okay, lagi? Lagi? Ada lagi nak tanya? Sorry guys, saya bebel banyak hari ni. No, nothing. Yeah, Ahar Dekayangan is title of a media. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Yeah. Banyak arahan Dekayangan. Just bear with
Yeah,
it
I
lah.
said it can be a drama on its own.
I hope one day you guys are going to be, you know, deputy deans, directors at the university. You know, if the opportunity comes to you, take it. Jangan say no. Jangan kata macam it's not worth the time. It's an experience, guys, to make decisions on behalf of the university. Yeah, it's a responsibility. It's a huge responsibility, and for people to nominate you for the positions is actually an honor. Yeah, it's an honor. Take it on. Jangan rasa macam, oh tak nak lah, bla bla bla. Cuba dulu. Tak suka, tak apalah, tunggu sampai habis. Sekejap je tu, 2 tahun, 3 tahun je.
Can come with hypertension lah, Dr. Fitri.
Again, prioritize. Again, prioritize. You need to prioritize what is important to you. Jadi bila kita tak prioritize, orang lain punya agenda will become your priority. Which is not fair on yourself lah.
So, Dr. Fitri,
Yeah.
on that account, so how to deal with all those, you know, abundance of, you know, tasks given to you, like what you said, prioritize, right? So, how to deal with that? Because if you did not do or comply to it, it will come back to you. Yeah, and you aware that you have something more important than those things, you know. But how to deal with that, Dr. Fitri? I would like, you know, your opinion on that. Thank you.
No problem. Dayang dekat mana? FEB eh? Are you in FEB?
No, FSSH.
FSSH. Okay. For me, I make a list. I have a list for everything. Oh my God, yeah, I have a list for everything. I make sure that I look at my list. I have so many books that is for different types of lists. So apa nama? Again, my list is about me. It's not about other people. You faham tak maksud saya? Jadi walaupun kita tolong orang, katakanlah it's from a colleague who cannot do something lah, ya. And then dia minta kita buat. Boleh kita buat, tapi jangan buat benda tu sebagai your priority. Jangan let that thing jadi your main agenda for the day. Because once you start doing that, you are already compromising your agenda. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay.
Jadi kena tahulah, and then nak tolong orang, you know, again peribahasa Melayu, buat baik berpada-pada. Buat baik berpada-pada. So jangan tolong sampai orang tu macam terus totally dependent on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
Sometimes you have to bagi sikit balik. Yeah. Kalau tidak dia tak grow. And then human nature, kalau tak boleh buat bagi kat Dayang, Dayang akan complete. Saya pernah kena, saya banyak kali kena. Yeah, but at the end of the day, you yang penat. And nobody, will say thank you pun at the end. Very
Right.
kindly.
I take that. Yeah, I'll be strong.
Yeah, you have to be. You have to be. And I think women, especially ladies in this group, apa nama, I think it's much more challenging for ladies to be an academic because you not only have to be you know respected and build your niche at work, you also have to juggle what's going on at home. Yeah, jadi find a balance. So bila time free, make sure it's all about your family, about your husband, about your kids, about your parents, whoever it is that you're taking care of. Jangan mix the two. Don't, jangan mix the two. So if it's time that you have already set for yourself, tell yourself today, it's Sunday, I'm going to spend 2 hours with my father. I'm going to have tea with him. So just tea with him. Janganlah pergi bawa check telefon, check email, check, that is where we become ineffective. Yeah. And those of you who are planning to have children, yeah, children will suck up a lot of your energy as well. So it's again how you prioritize. Tapi jangan gunakan the conditions of being a woman sebagai a way for people to say, alah, dia cuti bersalin je all the time. Benda macam tu. So you don't want that kind of snide remarks behind you that people will use against you for promotions, for things and stuff like that. Yeah, balance lah, balance.
Right, thank you, Dr. Vitri.
No problem. Sorry mencicir sikit.
Doctor,
Ya, saya.
sorry, nothing to do with our topic today, but I would just like to get your opinion and feedback. Like just now you mentioned about SKT and how we are supposed to perform, and there is a marks given to us for every year. So as a new staff, you're aiming for that confirmation. But unfortunately last year due to COVID, a lot of our plans were cancelled. So my marks weren't up there. So I just want to know what is actually the process, because I've heard some of my senior, they can get the confirmation within a year. And then some of my seniors, even though they work hard, and 6 years still not confirmed. So I just like to know what's going on actually? How does it work?
You should get the confirmation within 3 years lah. 3 years is the standard time frame. That is the HR sort of ruling. If you're going on for 6 years, that means that there must be something wrong. There must be some things that may not be obvious to you, but maybe the HR people know.
I see.
Yeah, tapi jangan use that as a yardstick lah. Yeah. People who dapat 1 year confirmation is normally those who excel lah. That's why I said you have to be visible. You cannot hide behind your selimut and expect people to know what you're doing. You have to start building what website. Those of you who are tech savvy, build your own website, and use that to promote whatever things that you're doing. The reason why people don't promote people is because dia tak tahu what you're up to.
Yeah, okay.
Student dia rasa macam tak ada apa. Tapi Natasha, I also want to remind you lah here, all this evaluations is human. Yeah, human based, is human centric. It's very subjective. Yeah, nobody can be objective. Nobody. Yeah. Even if the department head is your best friend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So jangan rasa macam that's the end of the world. Whatever marks that you get, that's the end of the world. Tak ada. Tak ada.
Yeah.
Don't feel like that, because I think I need to remind you guys lah. The evaluation is so subjective that you don't know who's gonna say what about you. Maybe at that point in time they feel down about themselves, and because of that they don't want to have you like markah tinggi. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
And then you get like all worked up about it. Oh my God, wasted energy, I tell you.
Yeah.
Wasted energy, yeah. I worked under the VC, for a couple of years, and this current VC, and the marks that he gave me was 89, I think the highest, 87, 89. And I thought it was a lot already. And then he kept on apologizing to me because he said all the other, the management at that time were asking for 90 plus, and he refused to give markah above 90. And I'm like,
Mm.
what? Seriously? And then because I never bothered about SKT. To me, SKT is like, it doesn't tell whether I'm good or not. It's just my dekan punya perspective. Because before that, when I'm at the faculty, my dekan semua bagi saya markah 70 lebih. And I'm getting, the best grants. I get my papers published. My students like to
Wow.
come to my class. I feel that is my achievement. And then for the dekan to say that I only cukup 70, it's just one
Yeah.
person punya opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so if you get worked up over that, saya rasa wasted time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but is there a way to voice out that concern to your dean?
I just let it go.
You just let it go.
I pick my battles.
Okay.
I pick my battles. I don't get worked up over everything. Because sometimes kadang-kadang people are not um you know ob- people are oblivious to that, and
Yeah.
say something to you like, "Allah, you smarty pants," that kind of thing. I don't want that kind of remark lah.
Yeah, I
So
understand.
yeah, so save yourself lah. Do say where is appropriate, where is necessary. When you become dekan, you know what to do.
Okay.
You know.
So just
Macam when
focus on my own thing.
focus on your own thing. Be good in your own thing. Itu you start dulu. And then you can dictate how it's gonna work. Because once you're good in what you do, you can dictate the rest of it.
Okay.
Yeah. Your
Thank you,
battle.
doctor. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll try to do that. Thank you, doctor.
Doctor.
Saya.
Yeah, Assalamualaikum. I just want to ask about the SKT as well lah, because we have macam in the department or in faculty, we have been given many tasks in macam in jabatan punya, but it's only count as like 5 marks for the overall, and then we, because of the things that we done in the jabatan in the faculty, we macam ada less time to do the research and all the papers.
Yeah.
And then the papers and the research also counts as 25 marks for overall. And then it's like when you minus 25 and then you only got 85, like it's a minimum of the like the number the marks lah. So how why Unimas, it's not like that, just asking like why Unimas tekankan the research whereby we are the like not a research based universities. Because we also done macam another things like community lah, social lah, but that's the most marks lah for the SKT.
Yeah.
Just asking lah.
Understand? I totally understand. The publications are and your research dulu lah, tak payah publication dulu, research dulu. Your research defines what you know. The community things that you do, the jabatan things that you do, it doesn't define what you know. Okay, simple as that. Jadi kalau you know that dalam markah SKT, the most of it is going to go to research, then pay attention to your research. Every single day, you put aside 2 hours for you to work on your research. Jangan buat 20 minit. You understand what I mean? This is where I said, orang lain punya agenda becomes your agenda.
Agree.
Apa nama? Plan dulu. Kata, okay, kalau saya nak dapat 85 marks, and that's the most that you can get kan from SKT, 85 marks for this one. For my publication, I want to get at least 2 publications, 2 papers, at least 2 papers this year. 2 papers, you break it down. Berapa jam you nak spend? Berapa jam you nak spend? Do you know how much time you want to spend for each paper? So you
Not
have
really
to,
sure.
you have to decide. Rosana, you cannot just plug a number on, no. Kita kerja from 8 to 5, yeah. We have solid 40 hours every week. Out of that 40 hours, how many hours are you spending on preparing for your teaching? How many hours are you doing for your research? How many hours are you working on just emails? Lagi satu, email jangan check setiap hari, setiap masa, setiap saat. Have a time for you to check your email. Yeah, have a time for you to check your email. Same thing as your WhatsApp as well. Because those things are distractions. The minute you get an email, you go like, oh my God, I have to respond now. No lah. It's asynchronous communication, guys. Asynchronous. Maksud dia, you can pick it up anytime you want. That's all. Yeah. So kita kena pandai. Kita kena pandai. Kita dah kita dah belajar kat universiti, kita dah masuk universiti pun, yeah. So kita kena pandai susun masa. So kalau you feel that is 25 marks that you are going to be evaluated this year is on publication, then 25% of your time should be on research. 25% of your time should be on research. It's very simple mathematics. Yeah. Tapi kena ada plan lah. Kena ada plan.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor.
No problem. Lagi? Ada lagi nak tanya sebelum kita beredar? Dah pukul 12 lah guys. So I got 7 videos for you. Baru siap pagi tadi. I'm so sorry I didn't have time. But I'm going to work on the quiz after this. The quiz is going to be based on the videos as well. So you can watch it. It's really up to you. It's actually the slides that I've shown you, but in detail lah here. And then the quiz is quite straightforward. I have no idea how many questions yet. So far I have 30, but you can do as many times as you want. And then you just screenshot to me your final markah that you want me to input, and that will be your markah for the reflective practice lah. Is that okay? Is that okay, guys?
Yes.
Yes, Doctor.
Okay. So no assignment. No assignment.
Thank you. Thank you. I have a lot of marking to do.
I know. I totally understand. Yeah. Ada lagi yang nak tanya?